think about the kind of people that we have invited. So we had this show in the morning and it ran into the afternoon. And by the time we were done with the show, the consensus was that we bring everybody together. And I offered this space, I offered myself, and I said, I'm willing to bring as many people together as possible so that we can chart the way forward. And I offered myself as a moderator, someone who would make sure that everybody remains civil and that we can focus on what it is that we're supposed to be doing. So, yes, so I sent out a call to everybody. Everyone who I think is, or not, no, we actually came with up the list. Came up with a list and we said everyone who believes they have been instrumental in this fight against tyranny. Is it tyranny? Yes, but everybody who's been instrumental, I was like, okay, guys, can we come together? And we just we just pick a gumzo, and then at least we can have, like a central command system of some kind. Very simple way of doing things. Yeah. So I called everybody. I tagged everyone. And I will see, or rather, we will see if they appear. We must also be very proactive in how we do our things from now on. We cannot just sit and hope for the best. No, no, no. Those days are gone. Those days of sitting and hoping for the best, like when you are a child, hoping that, like burying your head in the sand, those days are gone. We are now in the days where you have to, whatever it is that you want for yourself, you reach out for it and get it and grab it. Whatever it is, even if it is leadership. Because when will an opportunity like this present itself again? When will an opportunity like this present itself? Even if you were to hate me, you say, Akibe, I hate you. When will an opportunity like this present itself again? When? When will there be somebody who puts themselves on the line and says, I am here willing to accommodate you? When will that happen? You are not going to do it. Everybody you see here, nobody's going to do it. No. They will never do it. We have been so corrupted in our minds that we hate each other, that we are looking for ways to destroy one another. It doesn't matter on which level we are on. So we must grow and mature beyond that bullshit. That one right there. It's called failure to launch. It's a failure to launch on our part, where we have never launched anything. We have never come together to do anything together, and now we have nothing. So we cannot fail to launch all the time. We must make sure we see things through. It's very important. So yes, I did send out a message to all those people, and I told them, "Hey, listen, jump on this." Now, if you go to the comment section, maybe we should do that so that we can see how we think. We as the Kenyans. Let's go to the comment section. Before I bring in anybody here, let's go to the comment section of. So the people who I tagged, and I said, if I've not tagged somebody, just make sure you tag them. Sometimes it's very hard to find the tag. So I invited Gaido, Eric Omondi, Rosalind Akombe, Nkurwa Court, Kimuzi Amerix, Mokua Dismas, Hani Farsafi, Duke of Kericho Town, Boniface Mwangi, Caliph Cairo, John Alnamu, Ombachi, somebody Kaskazini, I don't know who that is, Eric Latif, Pastor T. Mwangi, Austin Mwangi, Gabriel Oguda, Jerotich Sei, Faith Odiambo, Octopizo, Rabbit the King, Professor PLO Lumumba, Benson King, Giuliani Kenya, and I am Rapture the Scientist. Okay. Somebody says, Baba Eli says, hopefully we won't divert from the main agenda. Yeah, that's the whole idea. The whole idea is to remain focused on the agenda. Maj Ralph has been very active, says, we will be 30 minutes before we will be on with General Miguna amongst other speakers. Okay. Paul Bank says, I love this. It's time our leaders show us voters respect and build a nation for people. Amin says, give us the agenda of the space. We are also tired of wasting our data and time listening to endless sad stories. Yeah. You see, that's the thing. So what I'm seeing is fatigue is setting in. And once fatigue sets in, because these conversations are not supposed to go on forever. We're supposed to finish the conversation and people go back to work and people go back to being productive. And the people who have been, and everybody goes back to doing what it is they're supposed to be doing, which is nation building. But the longer we have these conversations, the more we are going to wear each other down. We're going to just destroy each other. And now after that, we have to look for a way to excite each other again. And now that exciting each other is the fight, is where the fight comes in, where one person takes to another and just says, oh, here, I'm here to finish you. I mean, you see that happening all the time. So yes, of all the people that I've invited, it's like when that story in the Bible where this guy made food for his friends, and his friends never came for the bash, and he was told them, butchers, go out there and bring anybody. Let's go bring anybody. Just come and eat and make merry. So as we wait for the bigwigs to come, I will invite everyone who's here to come in and say something. Because tomorrow invite, tumwambia kujeni tukae chini tubonge. Kaa akina Ruto na Raila wanakaa chini wanabonga. Sisi ni akina nani? Sisi ni akina nani? Who are we, these obstinate people? You think there's ever going to be a movement that people where people don't come together and work together? You think that's going to happen? You think someone like Amerix is going to run a movement by himself? You think the TikTok people are going to run a movement by themselves? These things, people come together and they work together. If you don't do that, then what you have is just very many decentralized groupings that have really zero or no impact. I said in the morning, we need to look for the soldiers who have been killed, or rather who have been injured along the way, and pick them up, clean them up, and fix them. We need right now to have a whole movement of getting the people who had been arrested out. I mean, these are things that these people who have to come together will need to work on immediately. But anyway, let's start with the people who are here. Let's to see the Rao small beginnings. Mugabi Ivan, what's up? And let's keep it short. Do not despise small beginnings. Mugabi Ivan, if you're not there, let's go to Midi Joe. Quick, fast,
yes, can you hear me, Kibe? Hello?
Yes, I can hear you.
Am I loud and clear? Well, yes, thank you very much. Mine is just very brief. I can just appreciate, and I do, first of all, appreciate your endless efforts, not just to conduct these spaces, but actually to add value through these voices, through these different, through the different interactions. And I think one thing I liked in the comments I listened to briefly as I was following through. You said, when will a moment like this ever happen again? When will this same opportunity ever rise again? I think that is very key, because it's not only inspirational, but it's motivational. In terms of, that amidst the seemingly sometimes challenging moments, there is still a voice to create a sense of hope. It's that there is a ray of hope, or a ray of hope at the end of the tunnel. And I think that's incredible. So I think we need very many more people, of course, with such a mindset to encourage and to motivate, to inspire, but also to strengthen energies, especially where people are feeling at the lowest points. Thank you, Kibe. That's what I just wanted to send through as just a compliment and an appreciation. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you, Ivan. Yeah. When will a moment like this ever come again? When will a moment where people are willing to work together ever come again? When will a moment like this present itself ever again? If you don't jump on this, when will you ever, are you going to create your own moment? This moment has been created by Gen Z. Gen Z have created a moment for us, my guy. And here we are, squabbling like little girls. When will a moment like this be ever created again? It has not been created before in my lifetime. I'm seeing it for the first time. So I'm going to jump on it. If not now, when? If not me, who? Why would I push this to somebody else? I should take my responsibility. Same. Do the same. All right, Nasbi, thank you for coming through. What's up? All right. So we are waiting. We're waiting to see who's going to come through. The invite was sent. I sent it to all those people you heard me saying. All those people, I've sent an invite to them. I said, come, let us reason together. Let us sit together and reason and give our younger brothers and sisters at least some energy. Just pump them up so that they don't fall by the wayside. Just pump them up and tell them, you guys, you're doing the right thing. Go ahead. Just that energy. Why deny them that energy? What is this that you're doing tonight that is so important that you're going to deny them that energy? I can get not going to the streets. Even me, I don't want to go to the streets. Who has the energy to run after, and be bomolewed by those, what are they called? Tear gas and water cannons. Who has that energy? I used to have it when I was younger, 20 years younger maybe, but now, shit. I'm an old man. I'll leave that to the young men to do. So yes, the young men have to do their part and the old men have to do their part. James Morioki. Is it Morioki? Yes, go ahead.
Yo, Kibet, quick question. Did you get any response on the call out?
No response. No response whatsoever. Not a single person responded on my call out, which is weird if you ask me, right?
Yani, okay, so let's see. Let's see. I think even people who have joined the space, you can call these guys out and see what they're saying about it.
Midi Joe, what do you have on your mind?
Thank you, Kibe. It's a shame to see that people don't want to participate in this. Na hii ujinga kidogo watu, hii akili finyu watu wako nayo. Watu waweke kando bana. Sawa, uko na grudge na mimi, alafu utatusaidia? If our worst enemies sasa wanashikana na wako against us, who are we not to? Personally, I did what I wanted to do. Nilitag Rapture, the scientist. Na wengine kidogo nimeona pia wana host saa hii akina Kimuzi akina nani, lakini we'll see. Kama mtu ana value whatever is happening, anaweza take time kidogo, hata kama na host kwanza aache kidogo akuja apeane his views na nini, na tunamwachilia endelee na biashara yake ingine ya ku grow followings pale. Jua pia some people are doing it for the numbers, but it's high time we call them out, sababu hata wao wakihost hizo nini zao tumekuwa we've joined, tumeongea, wengine hatujaongea, but now this is the time. Hiyo upuzi watu weke kando, sijui Kibe alisemanga sijui nini, yani bullshit maze. We have better issues right now to discuss rather than being personal. So mimi na call out wenye na follow, wa join hands. Hii vita ni ya kila mtu mazee. Hata wazae nyumbani wana to back up na maombi. Wanatuambia hawana nguvu ya kwenda kwa streets. Tukitoka wanatuambia sasa, my son I bless you. Who are they not to join this movement? It's a wake up call na watu waamke. Shukran.
Yeah, it's you cannot even blame them at it too much, because now I mean it's like a gold rush. It's like a gold rush. Everybody's rushing. You see, everybody's rushing to get the numbers. Everybody wants numbers. Give me my numbers. I want to have the biggest space possible. Yeah, I want to be the guy who gurumishas, the way the government took us. Yeah, the government is going to be shaking when they hear about me. No. We are missing the point. We're missing the point completely. All right, let's see. Duke of Kericho, what's up?
Hi, good evening, guys. Nice one. We are here. Guys have not arrived, and we gave them the invite. We have the list. But then, yeah, we'll just push on with those who are there. But it has kept me thinking of so many things. First and foremost, people don't know about, before this Gen Z movement came up just the other day, most of the people didn't know about the spaces. But some of us who have been on these X streets for a while, at least we know the spaces. Once Kibe, when you were in America, we used to host a lot of spaces. You used to host spaces yourself. I never saw any of these politicians. I've been going through my timeline. I see Miguna speaking a lot in a space. I've seen Kivuta, Kibwana doing spaces of late. I saw even Philip Etale of ODM doing spaces. Now, you ask yourself, why are these people so... It's like a rapture, where guys now want to do space all over, like there's an outbreak of spaces. And you realize everyone wants to associate with the Gen Zs. But when it comes to the real reasoning and the honest conversation, the word honesty in its real meaning, you don't see it. You just don't see it anywhere. So everyone wants to associate with the Gen Zs, and we agree that Gen Z is a generation that was born at a certain time. They are standing up against the status quo, but with some problems. Of course, they have their own challenges. These people want to associate themselves with us. Most of them come from the millennials and from the X generation. In fact, I don't see any Gen Z there. People hosting today's spaces, severally, they are hosting spaces, most, apart from people like Kimuzi, of which even I don't think Kimuzi was in Kapsabet. He just finished high school. He's an X or a millennial just before Gen Z. The real Gen Z, if you find them, they are so honest and their points are very clear. All these people, this group of people who want to associate themselves with us, they just want to ride. That is why they don't even understand the honesty in this conversation. And you see, once we gave them the invites today, it's not like I'm blaming them, but I'm just giving you a study. Once you give them the invites, they don't seem to come. Why? Everyone wants to do their own thing. They see us as and they want to consume us. It's like msanii anaona a crowd. So they see it's like we are a crowd of people that will buy the ideas. Now all of a sudden, ideas are everywhere. Everyone wants to tell us something. Everyone is running about governance, about what, now. But then when it comes to the real conversation like this one, where Andrew Kibe called us this evening and told us, okay, guys, let us call our house to order. We cannot continue like this. It is truth and reconciliation. Tujipange before tupangwe. If politicians can come together, like you saw the other day, President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2018 came together with Raila Odinga after a very, very vicious and a very tough struggle, where even we lost a 2-month-old baby, Pendo, in Kisumu. You lost a lot of guys. Then Raila comes, talks to Uhuru, and they become buddies. The other day, we were on the streets, guys lost their lives. And today, yesterday, President Ruto is there with Raila Odinga. Only a fool will believe that these guys are enemies. These guys are not enemies like we are made to think. These guys, they are playing a game. And as long as we are in conflict, they are okay. That is why they come together at the convenient times. And when it's our time to have conversations, you find guys don't come out. They don't have conversation. You realize also there's selfishness in us. Guys are very selfish everywhere. Everywhere. Now guys want to start this fitina of, oh, Andrew Kibe this, the host that. And we have differences everywhere. It's like if you scan your village. When there's a function in a rich man's home, all of us run there. But when it's a function from a humble person, like one of us, we don't come through. It's just that case. It's a case like that. But all the same, guys, I believe if we can have a honest conversation of how we tunafaa kujipanga, at least we'll arrive at we will build something nice. Do not despise humble beginnings. I mean, let us start the way we are. Me, you, and another person, we can discuss, have things. We can have solutions for our own problems. Because I discovered everybody's greedy outside here. All of a sudden, guys are hosting spaces. None of them is even a Gen Z. None is giving even Gen Z's time to speak in their spaces. So a 45-year-old hosts a space, has another 45-year-old. A mainstream guy or another politician like Kivuda Kibwana is hosting a space now all over. He seems to now be knowing the problems of Gen Zs more than the Gen Zs themselves. Host space. Somebody, example, Iya Miguna. Miguna is just having spaces discussing Gen Z issues. This guy is not even a Gen Z. No Gen Z speaking in that space. Now I don't know which Gen Z they are talking about. So we want to tailor this space through the reconciliation to Jipange before Tupangwe, where we, the real Gen Zs and those people who are in the front line, come out and at least build something out of this and to avoid confusion. If we build bit by bit, baby steps, at least I know we'll be somewhere. Nice, those are my remarks.
All right, thank you, Duke. I feel like we have talked so much. I'm looking for someone who has anything like completely different to give us. We've said so many things. Yeah. We have talked, man. I'm even feeling that fatigue now, the fatigue of talking about the. I get very worked up when I talk about things I cannot solve, and I'm like, why are we talking about it? If you cannot solve it, we just forget about it. Tuache kuongea kama tuwezi solve, lakini kama tunaweza solve hiyo kuongea, lazima ifike point sasa tuseme let's put some action behind it. Nani atafanya hii, nani atafanya hii, nani atafanya hii. Hatuwezi bonga tu forever.
Of course, we have ideas. We have ideas all true, but that's just a basis of why we should come together around now the order. Like, guys are still confused. The confusion is still there. The talking is too much. Spaces everywhere. Everyone has an idea all of a sudden. But now at least we should get down to work.
All right. Okay. Let's see who else is here. All right. That's Duke. It's Njeri. Are you there? Alafu hizi spaces ukienda mazeni kupigwa tu. Hey, we must. Lakini hakuna mtu anapewa hiyo kazi. Hiyo we must mpaka saa ngapi bro? Oh, Ruto is like this. Mbaka Sangapi. Until what time are we going to keep talking about how Ruto is or how the country is? Until what time are we going to keep repeating? Bro, you listen to one space, you've listened to all of them. There's nothing new anybody is saying. There's nothing new. You listen to one space, you've listened to all of them. Hizi spaces zimekuwa diluted sahi. We are talking nonsense in the spaces. Now, we have refused to take responsibility and put some action behind all these words that we have. Sound like a bunch of losers. Hata mademo anakama hapo anatuuliza, so what next? Tunajua wacha tuongeongee kidogo. Let's just keep talking a little bit, because right now we don't trust each other. We don't trust each other to even come together. So let's just keep talking a little bit. Mademu anasema mtaongea tu, ongeeni basi. Mtanipata MOH ikiwa nimeenda maandamano. What a bunch of losers we are. I see Andrew is coming running. Andrew, I want to hear what you have to say. Who else is here? Before Andrew gets here, Ombogo.
Hey, habari ya jioni.
Fiti, what's happening?
Niko poa. So, mimi niko na suggestion. Tumejaribu take one whereby maybe tumewatag because I'm sure mkuwafikia private. Wamekataa kushow up. Well and good. Juu issue ingine nayo ni moja. Mtu akijitolea sahihi aseme ya kwamba yeye atasimama plat fulani, mwingine asema atasimama party nyingine. Like huyu asema ndakuwa leader, huyu asema atakuwa secretary. They are the same people watarudi wapige, alafu ifanye ikwe demonized. So part 1 tumewatag, tumewaambia wakam waweze kutupatia way forward, pengine waja show up. Part B naweza suggest kama unaweza kuwafikia privately, sijui kama ni through a call or a text, hiyo inaweza kuwa the last option. Then when they don't show up, we can pick up and proceed. At least kuna ile grace period umewapea, umeambia kujeni tuongee hiki tuiplan hivi, then wamekataa. Hata kama watakuja waidemonize baadaye, juu lazima na suggest private conversation before tuwalete pamoja, because they have issues. Kuna mtu mwingine kwa against mwingine kwa against mwingine, but maybe ukiwafikia uambie this is the way forward, let us forget about our issues, let us forge forward. I think itakuwa better. So you can try that as a last option when a Duke. I think nimefikiria tu.
All right. Okay. Let's marinate on that for a second. Let's marinate. As we marinate, Andrew, go ahead. Andrew Mutua. By the way, Andrew Mutua, if you guys on Sunday, Andrew runs a wonderful jazz show in the evenings. What time do you start?
6 p.m. Kenyan time. Thanks for that shout out. Yes, 6 to 9.
A beautiful. Oh, bro, just go listen to that show. 6 to 9, he runs a nice jazz show. Very little talk. He talks about the music. He keeps his focused. Wonderful show. Keep pushing, my guy. I like that show of yours a lot. Meanwhile, go ahead and give us your contribution.
Thanks, Kibe. You've heard of that term as a quote. If you're not on the table, you're on the menu. And I think it's very counterintuitive that we've just become people who call each other, sellouts, amelipwa, those kind of terms. I mean, many of those guys who've been paid are guys that add value. If you think of Osama Otero, he had the following that prompted these guys to reach out to him, because they know if he puts up a space, it will attract the numbers. And the guys that are just calling him out, they can't hold a space of his magnitude. So my take is this. I think the idea now should be, how do we become part of that multi-sectoral discussion that is happening from Monday next week, so that then we can begin to voice our ideas. I know many people are just saying no to dialogue, no to this. You know, there will not be a major change happening, but I think the idea is to take advantage of this moment to see what positive progress we can make. How can we move forward as a country? How can we begin to now put our ideas forward? So my take would be that the discussion should be, how do we participate in that multi-sectoral forum, as opposed to being just spectators and just shooting everything, or rather, speaking bad about other people and all that kind of stuff. So that's my take, and that's sort of the contribution I would give towards this. So it would be, we need to participate. As you say, this is a game, and those that are thriving in it are those that are in the system. So how do we get into the system? We need to figure out how we become players of that game, as opposed to just spectators on the sidelines, just commentating and trying to be holier than thou, saying that this guy is a sellout, that guy has been paid, while contributing nothing substantively to the growth and development of our country. So yeah, that would be my take. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Andrew. I'd not thought about getting involved with that, with the Raila suggestion, but now that you mentioned it,
Hi, Kibe.
no, don't do that. Just mute until you get a chance to speak. So far, it's not your chance yet. That was Andrew Mutua with a suggestion there. All right, what do you think, No Jumper? And No Jumper, if you don't talk this time around, I will never, ever. I have accepted you, I think, 6 times today, and you're not talking. Every time I accept you, I think you're just here to chase cloud. So let me just give you a better. I can block you so that you'll never see this shit again. Puny ass. Yeah, this guy has been requesting to speak, and every time I give him a chance to speak, he does it. People do that just so that they can be seen. That's some puny shit. All right, let's move on. Athanask.
Thank you, Kibe. Thank you. I have a different suggestion based on the way our country is, and I'd say that at least if we could have a formal way of expressing our needs rather than just talking about the ills of our government, talking about maybe the corruption, talking about we could say everything about these corrupt and immoral leaders. If there could be a way that we could express our ideas formally, that could be a better and a good idea. So tujipange before tupangwe. Thank you.
All right, that is Athanask. Appreciate that. If I'm keeping you on here, is because I need you for voting. Great Ngugi, go ahead.
Hello, guys. Hope mnanisikia.
Poa, endelea.
Okay, so first for me in this topic of truth and reconciliation and dialogue in general, first is to thank the Gen Z. We know we have done a lot for us to come here, but with this dialogue, for me is this leadership and the lack of leadership and the lack of leadership in the Gen Z movement. I think it's our biggest strength and our biggest weakness, because although we cannot be threatened now, they don't know how to deal with us. They don't know how to separate us. But also, in our side, we don't know how to unite in terms of policy, in terms of what we want, and tushaanza kukatika tu in pieces. And I think that will be a very, very big problem because without leadership kupata momentum itakuwa ngumu. This akina Osama, they know momentum itaisha, and these people they'll still be there. Then lastly, in terms of the talks, the dialogue, for me, I think the real dialogue should be, who are these leaders of tomorrow? Because I see people saying, Ruto out, cabinet out, but who are these people for tomorrow? Because trust me, we are good in theory, Mkio Mtata, sijui nani, popularist people, but we know in the ground that's not how it works. People, most rural voters, they follow, they just follow things. How Kenyans politics is. So for me, yes, I think the dialogue should be, who we should now be discussing, so that we can prepare them 5 years to come, or this 2027, 4 years to come, or is it 2 years or 3 years? Because if we don't, trust me, Ruto atarudia tu, and people will vote him atarudi. Sorry, thank you.
All right, thank you, great, Ngugi, appreciate that. Yaroslav, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, so thanks, Kive. On the topic of truth and reconciliation, and to the large extent, the whole issue around dialogue, I think from the beginning, that for the generation that occasioned this movement, that has been an unstarter, that has been an issue, But at the same time, Akina Ruto had their own parallel thing stemming from last year, the last year protests, the whole NADCO affair. So how I wished, that Raila Odinga, when addressing himself, could have stuck to just addressing issues of NADCO and not gotten into these murky waters of what we have. Now, that said, and he has received the backlash that he deserves, and all that has happened. There is this need for there is this call by a majority section of us to get rid of the cabinet. It's not necessarily that Ruto must go home. We are not here. We are not anarchists. We are here to tell the government to work for us. So we clearly know, and everyone knows, that in that government we have a lot of incompetent people. So as a sign of goodwill, why doesn't it just shove those people home? Do we need a dialogue for that to happen? So the two things should not be misplaced. The demands of the Gen Zs don't require dialogue. Whatever Akina Raila talked about with Ruto last year, if that is the implementation of whatever they're saying, that's a whole other story, and the two issues shouldn't be mixed. But as it stands right now, calling for dialogue is futile, because these are not things that you're going to give or take. These are people who are at the wall and they're telling you back off. So it's you to back off. It's not for them to give again. So that's something they need to understand. Thanks, Tibe.
All right. Thank you, Yaroslav. Nasikia nimechoka na kuongea. Yani ile I do get the value of talking, yes. I get the value of people having conversations, yes. But beyond that, if you don't do anything about it, then that becomes fatigue, because now sasa tumekuwa kao mama wazee, kazi yetu ni kukaa chini tu kupiga story. Ali.
Yo, Kibe.
Mm.
Good evening, brother.
Good evening, my man. What's up?
I'm good, I'm good. You ask us, when did we have a chance like this and we are not making good of use of it? Kibe, we had a big chance like this during our time when the ODM wanted to kick Moi out. The whole country backed up because we had strong leaders. We had people who had been there, who were fighting for our rights. We had Kina Kibaki, Kina Raila, Kina Kalonzo, the same people who are still in the power. And we did great. We actually removed Moi out of power. But the good thing is that there was an organization whereby when Raila stood up and said, Kibaki Tosha, we had somebody who could guide us to get what we wanted. And we actually achieved to remove the guy in power. Come back 2024 when you have Gen Zs who have a very strong movement. They have a strong idea. They have all the abilities of doing everything right. But the only problem is that hawana mwelekeo. So when you're asking them what action are they going to take, if they don't have a system, they don't have anything that will back them up, how are they going to make a move? Do they know what is the next move? Like tomorrow, we are seeing they're going to march to State House with no formula, with Eric Omondi, somebody who doesn't know anything about politics. Is just somebody who's going to push them. We're going to see our young boys getting hurt, being tear gassed, with no solution at the end of the day. Yeah, they can maybe make 1, 2, 3 moves, maybe getting even closer to the status. But what is next? That is my question. What is next? Without a formula, without a guideline, and then we can see the millennials are taking up the fight. Kina Miguna, we can see that a number of guys who they were previous politicians who have something to gain out of it. They're actually taking control of it. And if they don't watch at the Gen Z, there will be nowhere to be seen. We'll just follow the same system we had with Kina Kibaki, where they even had a fallout themselves, because people are power hungry and everybody wants to gain something. That is our biggest issue. We are not united for the betterness of our country. Most of the guys who want to take leadership, they want to better their lives. And that's why I said, if we don't change the system, if the system remains the same, we're just creating another beast who are going to sit on these seats, Kibe. That has always been my wish. The system first has to be changed for us to make concrete decisions, for us to make concrete, actually, difference in this society. That is my take, Kibe.
All right. Thank you, Ali, man. Yeah, the system has to change. It has to. Otherwise, all this will be for nothing. All this will be for nothing. We'll just be talking. And now, Kwanzaa will look like fools. Because ile kuchekelewa tutachekelewa saa hii after this. You guys thought you could change things, eh? Yeah, you thought you could do it. man. Anyway, it is what it is, man. All right, Logic Flow, are you there? Logic Flow.
Yes, Kiba, I'm there. Just give me a minute. I just need a minute, then I can join. I can speak. A minute, guys.
Sawa. Linux, are you there?
Yeah, Kibe, how are you?
I'm easy, bro. Talk to me.
Jana, you said that the rats are back or something. Was it Jana or the other day? I haven't been on social media the whole day. I'm just capping up, and what I'm seeing is making my heart a bit skip beats. You see, they are calling in ranks, and the president has put up a new defense line. And his strategy is very strong. And if you're not seeing it, tables are turning. If you can see through social media, SG Sifuna has come out very strong and say Raila has 7.5 million people who he leads or with their families. And these are the people he's presenting. He's not presenting Gen Z. Gen Zs are leaderless, partyless. So he's not representing Gen Z. So if Gen Zs are thinking that he's going there to represent them, they are lying for themselves. Anyway, as we move on to the next chapter, I think it's about time we breathe. Unajua saa zingine ukicheza mpira and unasikia ni kama the opponent amekukimbiza sana, you stop, take a breather, look at the pitch, and you make your strategy. I think it's about time we people be strong or courageous enough to show their head. Their head meaning we better regroup and have a sense of representation, because this leaderless and partyless is not being used against the youth or the people of Kenya. And I think this movement should now change, should not be a Gen Z movement, should be the Kenyan movement, whereby the Kenyan people coming together and saying no to certain things, or saying no to the system, because as you said, the system must change. But now we should be taking a step back to strategize, or just we need to take the next step of representation per se, because if you are not going to do that, the way political ranks are coming in and saying, okay, you are partyless, leaderless, we don't represent you as you are representing our people. Mark, you know that those people they are representing, some of them are the Kenyan people who are crying. But since we are partyless and leaderless, there's vacuum, and the vacuum is being taken over. And it's about time now the influencers of the movement, or probably the people who have influence in the movement, to come and take space and say, okay, this is the next point. Because if we don't do that, I think we are losing it. We are losing it because today, as you can see, the political class is out there and chest thumping because they feel like they have a plan B. And if they did not have a plan B, Calvary has arrived. Contingent mpya imekuja. Unajua kukuwa na backup plan na kukuwa na mlango, ama kama if we can use the analogy ya parliament, wamepewa basement ya kutorokea na kuanza kuchestamp tena. The owners of the countries have arrived. So it's about time the Kenyan people, or rather the movement itself, they need to show their hand, and it has to be strategically. And as much as people are afraid to show some sense of representation, it's about time we are represented by someone. It's about time. Let me say it's about time, because the way you keep on saying, we need a seat at the table, and we can't be given a seat if we are not showing up to the party. So if you don't show up to the party, someone else will take your plate, and they will eat the food that you're supposed to eat, and drink the drinks you're supposed to drink, and they'll tell you stories. By the way, tulifika huko tukakunywa mawhisky na tukakula mabiriani, na wewe utameza tu mate, because at this point mimi Kibe venye naona, I don't know if you're saying it, and I get your point when you're saying that you are tired. Talking sometimes becomes unakaa kimadhi, you're just whining like excuse my French, but you're just whining like a bitch. I mean, wewe you're whining. At this point I feel like the movement is whining, and we should stop whining and get some sense of representation, because if we don't, hiyo vacuum, hata kwa kibuyu ya maji, ukikunywa maji hewa inaingia ndani. Now the vacuum is being filled, and I hope everyone is seeing. So I bet it's about time we make the next move. Yes, Kibe.
Yep. Wonderful submission, Leroy. Linux. Appreciate that. Yeah, hata kibuyu ya maji ukikunywa hewa inaingia. Hakuna place ati kuna vacuum. Azi. Vacuum is in your head. And niliwasho hii vacuum mnajifanya ati iko, haiko. It is being filled up by somebody else. And that somebody else could have ulterior motives. They could have their own personal scores. They could have their own thing that they're doing. Wewe umejiingiza hapo kwa motive ya mtu mwingine. We must vet the people who are going to stand and say, I am representing. We must vet these people. It cannot be at just waiting for things to happen. No, you must vet these people and then give them the power to represent you. How else do you think this thing works? When Raila stood yesterday and he said what he said, you saw what happened. Immediately, his foot soldiers swung into action. They didn't even need to be told. You even saw a letter from ODM saying, hey, we expect everybody to take the party position. The party position is that we are not going for mandamano in the streets. We're not doing what the Gen Z are saying. We've already signed our own deal. Where is our deal, my guy? Party position, kila mtu anachukua party position. Sifuna, the one who you guys were about to make your leader the other day, he told you, no, my position is with Raila Amolo Odinga. What about us? Where is our position? Where do we stand in all this? Because sisi hatuna msimamo. Hakuna mtu anatuuliza opinion yetu. Wanacheki saa hii IEBC, the commissioners who are, the people who've been given the mandate to pick the commissioners. There is no representation of anyone else there. They chose themselves. Sisi tuko wapi? If you can have 9 commissioners, you can have 11. Why not? Saroli, what do you think about this? Am I just bitching?
Yeah, good evening, Mr. Kibe.
Go ahead.
Okay, mine is we've seen how things have gone, and I'm a Gen Z actually, and I would like to request that as I'm seeing we are so many here, all of us here. I know some of us might not be the Gen Zs, we might be the millennials, but the main goal that right now we should not even make this thing be a Gen Z thing. Like we now want to make it look like it's only the youth that are into this. Even our parents currently are fed up with everything, and you've seen what the opposition leaders claim. Raila, he started that they are now going to become in a dialogue, and just as Mr. Andrew Kibe has said that there is nothing that has been involved in the youth there, even in the making of the IEBC. And another thing I also wish to tell you guys is, I've just seen some tweet some few minutes ago that Mr. Ruto is trying to claim that most of the guys who are involved in this revolution are guys who are not even in the country currently. They are guys who are outside the country. So mine, I would just like to request that as we are here, I know most of us in this phase currently with Andrew Kibe, we are on the ground. We are in Kenya currently. Let's make this not look like it's for those who are in the abroad. Just to mention a name, I think they are trying to feel like Akina Kimuzi, being that they are not in the country, but they always push this forward. They feel like it's those who are not in the country that are pushing this. And another thing again, I would like to emphasize that even if one of us is a sellout, like what happened with Osama the other day, where we claimed that he was a sellout, the attention was diverted to him. And if you can check, I think it's between that time that the government got the chance to at least intervene and come up with some monkey games. So I would just like to request, even if one of us we've already analyzed and we know that this person is a sellout, let us not focus on them. Everyone does not have to go to the promised land. Even in the Bible, you saw. I will not talk much about the Bible because we are not all Christians here. So let's not focus on those who have been sellouts. Let us focus on the main purpose. Yeah, you've just seen the way a very young youthful guy, Denzel, was murdered the other day. Denzel can be you the next day. Denzel can be me the next day, and God forbid. But if Denzel maybe could have not died, I know most of our attention could have not been driven into him that much. So we should just not focus on other minor issues. Let us focus on the main issues. Even people like Akina Samuel, I've seen is here, Makori. Guys mentioned them as sellouts. Andrew Kibe, guys were on your neck some few days back here. But if we can be just that, the energy that we put on hating those who are against, or those who have been to bed with the government, if we can use that same energy to be against the government, then I know we are going to be somewhere else. We are going to be at a better place. Right now, Raila is going to have the dialogue, and I know Raila has been in the dialogue with the people from the government. Tangu nizaliwe, I've been reading history, I've seen some in person. He has been going to bed with the government. In Uhuru's government, he had an handshake. Right now, in Ruto's government, he really needs another handshake. And just as Kibe has said that, you've seen those who are his disciples, Akina Sifuna, which I regret. We were going to make a very big mistake. We wanted to even start campaigning for him to be the president. But you've just seen his response, what he has done. So we should be bright. Let's keep on fighting, even if you are a small wing. Personally, I'm a small wing. I don't have that much of followers, but I always try to repost. Even if I'll post, I don't get more interaction, but I always repost, like, and everything. As long as it will make account, eh? So hata nyinyi small wings wenye tuko hapa, maybe unajiona uko chini saizi, unajitafuta hapa, uwezi jiona. Just ensure that everything you do, if someone like the big wings akina Andrew Kibe, Psychosins, Duke, akina George, they have posted something, and you feel like it's something that is going to be with which is going to make us have a move, just repost, like, share with everyone. Let us also educate those who are back at home. Amaluo, today there was a talk in Ramogi, and there's this politician. He was there trying to convince people that Raila is for the good people, is for the good. And after the conversation, you could hear most of our parents. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened with our parents. They were even now supporting, and they're like, yes, this is okay, this is okay. But in real sense, it's something that is wrong. Raila has been in bed with the government since I was born. So let's keep on working hard. Let's keep on pushing forward. Thank you, Mr. Kibe, for the chance.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Saroli. Yeah, a lot. Just internalize all that. Now, there's someone that I invited. His name is Caswell. I invited him. I think I even tagged him. He's one of the few, not one of the few. He's the only one who has come through. So let's give him a chance and let's hear what he has to say. Caswell, what's up?
What's up, Kibe? How are you?
Amazing. Good to finally talk to you, man. You've been doing the most out here.
Finally, and thank you for this. I think I'd like to start by one, thank you for organizing this, but also thanking the Kenyans who are on this space, because I think there's a pertinent theme that is recurring, and I'll start with you, Kibe. And this is not an attack to your person, because I cannot speak to that, but I can speak to the online persona that we have. There is a lot of work that you've done around men and that kind of conversation, and the reason why this space is almost not as big as people would have expected it to be is because at some point there has been a conflict of ideas of how society is viewed. So people are not just skipping this space at it because nothing good can come out of it. They're skipping this space because of what they think Kibe represents. And it's a thing which I also have realized is that when I was thinking about it critically, is part of the backlash that I received. When people look at me from the outside, I represent a thing which they hate or whatever. It's a conundrum of sorts. And for us, because the reason why I also I was very keen on joining this and so is there is, for us to achieve the outcome that we all need to achieve, we will need to synergize. But the synergy does not just suddenly come. There's a lot of healing to be done, because there are ladies who will skip this space because they believe that, for example, that Kibe is a misogynist and that nothing good can come out of his mouth, or they'll skip this space or cancel me because what were you doing in Kibe's space? But then you realize that the goal right here is bigger than the individual. We cannot have ad hominem attacks, which is individual, the attack to an individual's character. But for us to bridge this gap successfully, there is work that will have to be done, because we risk forming cults around certain individuals, because you realize the reason why, for example, and sorry to even bring this up, the reason why people will look at Osama and say that he's a sellout and a traitor is we saw him as a brand, and he said he gave direction and injection in the movement and said, let's not do this and that, and he organized spaces, and at the time that he could do it, he pulled numbers. So we looked at it, and without saying, as much as we claim that we're leaderless, we delegated media to the bigwigs of Twitter. And that is, it's a problematic thing, because we cannot, on the one hand, we claim leaderlessness, but on the other hand, we decide how to feel based on how certain people feel. Because there's a space I joined, and he gave a very flimsy apology to me, like, oh, why are you bashing this person? And he was asking us,
Kasmal,
yes,
I would want us to focus on you.
Yes, I'm coming back.
No.
Or ask a question if you have.
Yeah. So I don't want what happened. That can, you guys can discuss that later. But I want to focus on you, because you're somebody who has stepped up to the plate.
Right.
And I don't want us to be ambiguous about this. You want this leadership. What do you see for yourself?
Absolutely. So for me, what this looks like, at this point, I have not yet crystallized the idea of what it is, because one, I'm still very young. The thing I have to offer this movement, and it's a thing that I have done unapologetically, is my voice, my eloquence, and my looks. What it feels like I represent is a person who wants to come and fill this thing in. But I have not yet gotten to the point where I can say, hey, listen, I'm vying for this, or I want this kind of position in government, because I'm not doing badly wherever I am. And this is the thing, even here on X, I'm still like a fairly new user. I've not been very consistent on this platform. I've not gotten to the point where it has crystallized and said, this is what I want to vie for. I'm not at the point where I'm claiming leadership yet, So what I have said, and I've said it time without number.
Why not? Why not, Kasmal? Why not? When do you think this opportunity is going to arise for you to, just claim leadership?
Or and that's why I'm like, again, as I was saying that, I was just like, bullshit, because I'm doing that thing for.
You're being the reluctant hero, right?
That false humility thing that people for, hapana, kama watu wakisema nitafanya. And I think it's hurtful. And I said this at some point in Sandwich, where I was like, I think it's also hurtful that if you've shown that you have a talent, you need to now sit and say, even if people hate me for this, I'm going to ask for this. So at that point, the thing which makes it miss is I have not had the good graces of the public to now say, and I know this is kind of warped, to say that I want to ask for this specifically, because I think a thing I should have done is I should have just said, hey, listen, the moment I figured out that when people started saying you have potential for this, I would have just said specifically, I want to be maybe governor for Nairobi or senator for Nairobi. Then, even if people are hating, they're hating knowing that this guy is saying you cannot be senator, or you can't be senator. Let's organize around that. But I haven't done that. So it's one of those things where I also do not have the insight for it, because I was not necessarily looking into politics as keenly. And that's where now the wisdom of the older generation comes, and they say that, hey, we saw a person who had this kind of potential. This is the kind of stuff that they could have done. And so at this point, it came, especially after I started receiving hate online. I was just like, oh yeah, no. What I'll do, I'll just give the eloquence, and then I'll go away and fade back. So I honestly have not thought about it. I know in 2022 at some point I was like, oh, I want to run for like a big obnoxious post in Nairobi, like either senator or governor, those kinds of things. But I've never uttered it out aloud, because I'm like, oh, what if they refuse? And again, as you've seen, we have such a crabs in a barrel mentality that makes it hard for you to communicate your dreams. That's the reason I would say I have not been. But specifically when we were doing this kind of thing in this particular movement, I was just like, we are just going to keep the government on toes until things are done right. I was not doing it with any political motivations whatsoever.
All right. Just hold up 1 second. Do you have anything you want to tell Kasmuel?
Yes, I have a question I want to tell Kasmuel. First, Kasmuel, thanks for coming through. I also watched you on one of the morning shows on K25, I think 2 days or 3 days ago, and I had
Is someone speaking? I can't hear them.
Yes, I have a question. I have one question. Now, I believe that the best leaders come out through such revolutions. It's during such times that we get the best leaders who then come out to implement. Like President Zelensky of Ukraine.
Is anyone speaking?
Hold up, Duke Kasmuel. So let me ask a question to Kalicha. Kalicha, who can you hear between Kasmuel and Duke?
I can hear both of them.
Okay. So Kasmuel and Duke, you guys can't hear each other, but I think Duke can hear you, Kasmuel. So Kasmuel, I think you drop off and come back.
I can't. Yes, let me drop off and come back.
Yeah, drop off and come back. Chop. Duke, go ahead.
Kasmuel can hear me because the question is actually his. Now, it's believed that in such times is when we get the best of leaders. I mean, revolutions like this will give us the best of leaders. And Kasmuel, I don't know why Kasmuel is so undecided between taking over leadership, yet he has been in the forefront. So he should answer why he's so undecided. But again, he should understand the kind of people he's dealing with. People are very hungry outside there. I don't know what kona hasira gani. They just feel like eating everybody up. The way we always put it here in our spaces here, Andrew Kibe have said clearly, we have a population. Look, we are different from the political class. Political class is gracious to each other. The political class, the players there are gracious to each other. Somebody wins, extends a hand to the loser, and then also they move forward. They work together. But
no, Duke.
Yes.
The time when you want to know that these people are the same is when they're having weddings. Hey, have you seen them at the weddings of their children? They come together like you've never seen it before, my guy.
Even when Pruto was the deputy president and he had a wedding in Karen, the entire political class was there, and you could see the way they are really into each other. They help one another. So the problem with our population, we want to eat our own very fast. We want to swallow them. We thrive in hating so much. Like even people had started hating on Kasmuel, by the way. Kasmuel watu walimtroll sana for a very long time up online. You will find we have a population that wants to eat their own. So I wonder, when are we going to settle and build our own and just give them our vision and then have them implement the vision? Because at the end of the day, we must have leaders. We must. There's nothing we'll do without leaders. And as I've said before, in times like this is when great leaders emerge. So still, I wanted Kasmuel to explain to me why he feels like he's not yet, is still undecided, yet he sees the vacuum, and it's clear that the vacuum is there. Does it mean that he fears that? Does it mean that he fears the population or the movement? You know, our movement has a lot of haters, by the way. So Kasmul should be just very open and tell us, does he fear this kind of people?
Interesting, Duke. I think first of all, thank you for that. But my thing was not coming from fear. My thing was coming from no. If I'm just gonna be honest, I think yes, it's fear. It's fear because me saying that I can do well with or without politics is me leaning into the comfortable. I think it was just me falling back into comfortability because when I came into the movement, I did not have an agenda. I came alone, and I've been doing these things. I've been marching. I've been very vocal about human rights and those kinds of things. It's just that this is the one that got me into the limelight. And a lot of the hate that was coming, I was just like, hey, why am I catching all this hate? And it's also, it's also come with a pattern. So when I sit down and I do like if I zoom out and look at it from an aerial view, I realize that, oh yeah, consistently I've always been alienated because people will say, oh, I'm all over the place and those kinds of things. But when we say we are occupying, I'm like, this agenda must be had in all media houses. And I'm like, if you guys are not doing it, I'm gonna do it regardless of what people say, because eventually the right people are gonna be listening. It's just also the fact that again, I decided not to affiliate myself to any political party after being a student leader in campus, because that was the thing. After being a student leader, you usually hop onto a party and then you're given positions as like youth influencers and whatnot. I just didn't think that was my spiel. So when I got out with that mind, I was like, I will not get into any of these parties because I'm not found a party that does not have a rot. So when I said, now let me try and do this thing independently and consistently now with this Occupy movement, anything that looks like excellence, anything that looks like someone is thriving, and especially I'll speak for myself, my analysis of the situation is people think that najaribu kutoka kwa block na story, and I'm like, I would do it either way. So it's fear, but it's not fear of the people. It's just, it feels like fear of what I could do or be, which is a thing which now I'm currently reorganizing and saying that the name has already been soiled. If it's being trolled online, I have already been trolled. Now I might as well now live up to the full potential, but I also just cannot do it blindly, because if we do not step up and clearly state whatever this thing is, the advantage will still, the wrong people are still going to take advantage of it, as we've seen the political class does.
Now, I'm asking this to you and Andrew today, and everyone who is here. I watched the 7 p.m. bulletin, and I had the energy that the president had today was so much like ni jamaa mwenye amejibuild tena kurudi. Now he has the guts. He was speaking now straight to the people, and he was sounding so political. I discovered one. Raila Odinga, the myth, sanitized this man yesterday. By Raila Odinga and the other political establishment appearing around him, he now feels confident. I saw that today. This guy feels confident. I was thinking loudly, like, don't you think that if we create an environment, because it is tujipange before tupangwe. Now, if we can create an environment where we also give you the confidence, don't you think that will count? Because it seems we have people who are so able to lead us, but then we are not instilling the confidence in them. They lack the confidence. So at least you'll realize Gen Zs are the solution and Gen Zs are also the problem. We are the solution in that we have come out strongly. Our points are very valid. We are also the problem because we have not cultivated an environment that will favor growth amongst those who have the potential to rise up. You see, the political class really went, and William Ruto realized, without inviting the entire political class, I'm out. So he went to KICC, invited the entire class. They gave him the confidence, and today he was out there just speaking like he has the guts. I discovered that they sanitized one another, they gave one another the confidence, and now a guy can speak. Don't you think if we start like we give you that because we are looking for that solution. We are here for the solution. It's time we end the talk. So we want to give an environment where we will develop those people who will go out there and really push our agenda, our vision. Also, I discovered we still have a lot of confusion when it comes to our problems. I said that today in our daytime space, that we have problems. We have Gen Z doctors. They have specific problems. Gen Z farmers, they have their problems. Gen Z diaspora, they have their problems. We want that order. We want to instill the confidence in leaders, get the order, and then we support. But then guys are not coming out clearly to take up their positions.
I think, Duke, personally, I have done nothing but, and I agree with you what you've said. However, uh, I've done my best. I cannot say that I have not put my best foot forward. I've shown people, hey, listen, I can work a crowd, and that's a thing which also I don't know why people had a. Maybe it's the way I said it, but anybody who's been on the ground with me, anybody who's been at Maandamano, knows that if, and I'm not even boasting, but I can really work a crowd. Two, I have shown that I really can. I can talk into a microphone, and it's not just self-aggrandizement. It's saying whatever the movement needs said. When we, I would think that we should prop, and this is the thing I've been saying. I've been consistently saying, prop our strongest voices. Tuseme tunasukuma hivi na tunasukuma hivi, because the political class has looked at it and they've seen we can let them fight each other, because now all the big accounts that fought me in the first week, they were just they brought me down, and two, all of them turned out to be sellouts. Nobody is doing anything to say, hey, listen, can we build this person up? And I'm saying this as a person who's gotten consistently this past week, apart from interviews, the calls I've gotten from political parties where people are just saying, we just want to meet, we feel like we could mentor you. I have had a call from every political party. I have had a call from very high officers in the land, and in my head I'm just like, no, my integrity is more important. I've consistently said, and that saying I live by is, one, I'm not desperate, but two, once if I touch a politician's money this early, I'm going to be forever beholden. So in my head every once in a while nakanga hivi chini nasema na kwa nini basi nisichukue hii opportunity yenye hawa wase wananipatia? Why shouldn't I think of it that way? But it's almost as if the people do not care, and that works for the political class, because if we drag it long enough and you people hate me long enough, I'm a problem that does not need to be added to the political class's payroll, because now they don't need to silence me anymore. So the people have solved it. So consistently I've tried to say, and I do this in person because I realize doing it online is not as effective. Even with the debacle recently, people have capitalized on the fact that it almost gives people a sense of joy and pride that I was booed in Uhuru Park. But nobody talks about how when we were doing the crowd work hapo ndani, the way I also received quite a bit of love. So it's very bittersweet where people feel like we cannot support. And again, even when we come from this space, while we might decide, okay, fine, we will support you, it will be another reason for being cancelled, where people are going to say that, pana, they've sat down and they've planned, they're going to prop this person. But I'm like, at this point, if yapping is my strength and we need a person who's going to yap the agenda, which I have done, I've shown time without number, because anyone who's attacking is not attacking me from a point of ideas. They're not saying that, hey, listen, you're saying these things that are going to harm the movement. It's just that, no, you're rising too fast, don't do it. So it becomes hard, because remember, the votes, if I were to run, I still have to ask the people for the votes, and so right now I would not be very sorry. Go ahead, Kibe.
No, you'd not be. You'd not be very. I want you to finish that sentence before I jump.
Let me finish. I would not be very quick to ask for it right now when it feels like the ground is hostile. So I have to do that groundwork and talk to people and try to, show them this is who I am. Those kinds of things. And I could be wrong. So go for it, sir.
No, I'm actually very impressed with your attitude, because I have seen your struggle and I've seen how you fought your way into this movement, and how you fought your way. Even at Uhuru Park, the guts it takes for someone like you to stand in front of people and try and tell them something and they boo you and you're still here. You know, I mean, come on, that's amazing. It's amazing because you have this never dying spirit, which is what we need at this juncture. So, yeah, Kasumal, just hold on. I wanted to say hi to somebody else. I'll come back. I'll come back to you. But, Duke, just hold on 1 second. I see we have another person that I invited here, and I said, please do come over. So this is the second of the invitees, Giuliani himself. How are you doing, Giuliani?
Buda, iza kuna kelele, mtoto yako nyuma hapa anapiga kelele na wife. So iza nikisikia mavitu unnecessary hapa.
Uko sawa, you're good, man.
So the reason I tell nimechoose kuongea is because I took Samuel. Samuel, I think you don't need permission, bro. Nobody needs permission. The beautiful thing about the movement until now was the individual responsibility. Each and every person. And my favorite person of all in the whole world is Boniface Mwangi, because I know how he moves. I know how he puts his money behind his talk. He doesn't wait for people. He calls people. He asks for friends to join him if they agree. If they don't agree, pay Kosawa. So you don't need permission, I think. And personally, that's my conviction as far as making things happen in this country. For the last 10 years, that's how we've been moving. But I want to say something that Kibe, if you allow me, though Kibe pia mimi niko na beef na yeye, but hiyo ni siku nyingine sita kupangia. But na wife amesema na beef na yeye, but when we had a community center in Dandora, when we were setting it up, one of the most important things that came up every time was trust. The reason why people fight, so the reason why people fought or fight you back is because they don't trust. First, you need to show your consistency, and being there consistently trying to do something is what builds trust over time. So it's not that you are trying to hate or people don't want this. It's just they need to trust that you're different as you say you are. So that's the only thing I wanted to say to Samuel. Nashukuru sana kwa hii space. This is the first time I'm kwa space. I haven't done it, but I'll keep listening. If you want my input, niko hapa.
Asante sana, Giuliani.
Yeah, thank you, Giuliani. Giuliani, I know we have things that we'll fight about that once this is done. Salimia wife na mtoi sana. Salimia wife na mtoi bana. I got nothing but I got nothing but love for you guys, man. So and for now, Giuliani, what you're doing and what you're doing with Boniface Mwangi, because I know Boniface Mwangi has also been getting a lot of heat, and he's very misunderstood, a very misunderstood fellow, and he still has the energy of a 20-year-old, and it's somebody that I have consistent through the years watched his movement. So even when I invited him here, I was like, hey, Boniface, please come. I know last time during the space where we had Guaido and George, that space did not go the way we wanted. But we are grown-ups, we are men, we can put that behind us and chart the way forward. So I see value in having as many people in this movement as possible. So yeah, Giuliani, don't go anywhere. Just sit here. I think people will want to talk to you. Let's go to Kalicha. Kalicha, go ahead. And Kasmol as well.
Yes.
Don't go anywhere.
Yes,
sorry, no, I'm not going anywhere. I just wanted to chime in and ask on that issue, kwa sababu it feels as if the voices online, it's very easy for people to form narratives around a character. One, the recovery, because I've seen sort of the good graces, the people who've started saying, oh yeah, I know this, why are we hating on this guy again, those kinds of things. But just winning, I feel like part of what the older people should is based on, because I don't believe that we are going through specifically unique experiences. We are maybe orchestrating this uniquely, but they're not entirely unique. I'm not the first person to be hated online. Neither am I going to be the last. There are people also joined in bashing the younger, saying, yes, you might say it family, but say this is where you could be getting it wrong. Do it right, instead of just saying, oh, do away with this whole entire person. I think part of what I would expect.
Let me tell you, Kasmal, one thing you should expect. Because you're still a young guy, okay? So, number one, expect people to hate you for no reason. Number two, expect people to hate you because you're doing good. Okay? Someone like Giuliani, yeah. How much heat do you think he received during that time when there was that issue with him? How much heat do you think he receives on a daily basis just by being Giuliani? He has not done anything to anyone, but he's going to receive that heat. So the heat is coming. The heat has to come, but you have to also understand that you're dealing with a very obstinate people. Okay. These are not these are not civilized human beings who you can reason with them. No, you have to completely dominate them. So don't go into this game if you're weak, because this game is going to kill you. You have to dominate them completely. You have to show them that you're the strongest for them to give you that power. So when you come here, don't come here as a weakling. Come here as a man who's, hey, listen, I am here and I'm taking my position. I'm not begging for it. I deserve it. Bro, you'll see how people will turn on you. Immediately they'll become your biggest supporters. So don't fear too much about what's happening now, and don't worry, because what's happening, there's a shaking right now. So the people who are going to say Kasmuel Tosha are now that we come together as quickly as possible so that we can protect people to be destroyed. Then eventually we'll have nobody to fight for us. And who his protectors surrounded him, and there's nothing you can do to Raila right now.
Right.
Yeah, so that's where we are right now. Because if we decide to move, how do we move and we've not agreed on anything? How do we move? Where are we moving to? Which direction are we going? How do we move and we've not agreed on anything? That's why, Giuliani, thank you very much for coming, even as much as we've said things. And Kasmuel, even for you, as much as you've received this hate online for just being Kasmuel. You guys, the guts it takes for you guys to come through, that's crazy. So yeah, so let's keep having this discussion. Let's see how far it goes in the next couple of minutes. Duke, what do you want to say to our guests?
A minute, please. Hey, Kiba, I have something. Last one. Kasmuel.
Yeah.
You will discover again, there's something again people have not realized. The heat online, there is a lot of heat also on the ground. Like personally, I'm in Kericho. I come from Kericho. The heat is too much. Look, I am a teacher. So I had to move out of the staff room, and the school I teach is in let's say a village. So guys here come, and Kericho is known as the president's stronghold. So I broke the routine, went out. In both instances, was in the front line for the demos in Kericho, took photos. There should be gone. I'll be heading to the village this Friday, where I'll have to go still and inject, even if the whole crowd is hating. That have been given as the example. So people who play so hard, so much that the hate doesn't have to overpower you and you now feel weak. At least people should emerge and let us knock it hard. The hate online is still the same as the hate on the ground. In fact, the one on the ground is more because one, it might involve your family members. Some of us have to move the message. All elected leaders are for this man. So you have to still keep moving. Yeah.
Asante. Actually, a bit of a backstory. When I went into Uhuru Park, that is a time when I was just like, everyone wanted to kill me. Everyone was sending me the most annoying messages, texts. People are calling my number, and so I went to Uhuru Park and said, maybe this is just online. I want to go and see if that's it on the ground. If these people want to do away with me, let them do away with me instantly. And as per my understanding, I found. But again, as you guys have rightly said, I found people who loved me, and I found people who I don't want to say people who hate me, because hate is I don't know. I cannot speak for them. Booing is just booing. I mean, we have bad campaign days, we have bad debate days. That's how I looked at it. I didn't look at it now I'm defeated. I know there's people who, like, a tough crowd is a tough crowd. Unaenda kuongea nini mbele ya watu time yenye watu wanaitisha ngoma and Calligraph Jones has just performed. So it's one of those things. For me, I took it as a thing for learning, and that's why it didn't stop me. I took interviews still. It didn't stop me from doing whatever it is, because I'm not doing this in terms of cloud chasing. I've been a small content creator, and like I've been growing consistently. But now in this political space, that's the thing I'm learning, which even as Kibe has said, and a lot of you people have said, this thing is, you step up to the plate. If you can't stand the heat, you get out of the kitchen. So I intend to just keep on going. It's just that now we need even more pointers saying that this is what we need to do. We now discuss how to solidify these ideas, behave like this. Those are some of the pointers, and that's what my intention was, to ask anyone who would be on this space. If you have pointers on, this is what young men do when they get into leadership early, maybe hiyo kitu inawaingia kwa kichwa, wanaanza kudinya madem, ama wanaanza like those kinds of things. It's one of those things where if I leave this space, I want to know that, because there are several hundred people here, over 1,000 people who are listening, who have the potential to be leaders over here, and I know that's going to be important information for them as well. But going forward, ndio isikue ati out of this movement,
Kasmuel enyewe we ni politician. Yaani unapewa dakika moja unachukua 10.
nipe pole.
Tuliza, we bado uko hapa bana. We're not kicking you away, so don't finish all your stories in one sitting. James Morioki, jump on this.
Kibe.
I'll come to you, Kalicha. I promise you I'm coming to you after James. But if you're ready, no, it's okay. James, go ahead.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, Samuel, is it imposter syndrome that you might be suffering from? And then also, Kibe, have you seen Ombachi has done a response? And this is exactly what I was talking about. Like, we need to work our differences aside and unite to a common agenda. Can you see the response? Also, I've seen, I had sent an invite to...
Put it up on the Jumbotron, let me see.
Let me just pull it up right now. And then also I've seen Miriam is around. She's been asking a lot of the correct questions, especially in terms of people are advocating, but what exactly are we advocating and in what way? I can see she's also joined, so you can like add her or something.
Mariam, you've been summoned. Honor the summons, Mariam. Don't make us come to your house. All right, Kalita, go ahead. Give us your thoughts.
Kibe,
bring.
No, not Leroy, Kalita.
Yes, Niaje Kibe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Kalita has spoken.
No,
Kalita, you've spoken.
I haven't spoken. I started speaking and then immediately I was cut short, and then I was muted.
Okay, go ahead.
In
Give
fact,
me your submission.
karibu niseme ile viral video. Wacha niongee. Anyway, so basically, I'm very gutted, and I'm not gutted by the fact that there's a certain kind of like cohort, a political class of certain individuals who feel entitled have come and to speak and to speak especially on our behalf, on the behalf of the
Is
movement.
anyone speaking? Ama ni mimi niko zangu?
That what? Can you hear me?
Yeah, Kasmal, we can all hear him. Just drop off and come back again.
Yeah. So basically, and I'm gutted. I'm not gutted by the political class. I'm not gutted by Raila, and I don't call him Baba because I don't feel like he deserves that particular title to me. The reason I'm saying this is because of the fact that it's not the first time that Raila has kicked sand on our faces, and the reason I'm much more disappointed by the masses is because of the fact that people actually think or actually still believe there's a perception that Raila has the best interest of people at heart, which is actually the contrary. The reason I'm saying this is because I never actually, I was in a kind of like a dilemma of like, who do you think you would support for presidency in the 2022 elections? But just the things that actually, the events that happened after the handshake, Raila basically like was muted. Like he kept quiet for the 4 or 5 years before the 2022 elections. And I know very well why, because of the fact that Raila was given 2 baths in KPA, and Joho was given a bath. In fact, I know Joho's bath because bath 7 was basically uh, uh, like there was basically it was literally just trademarked or something like that, if that's the right word I can put. And it was written portside on all the operations taking place in Bat 7 were basically for Joho and his family, and there were 2 bats for Raila, which I don't know. The reason I'm saying this is that because Raila's interest always is his own comes first. You see very well that, you know what, the other day he had an opportunity to actually put someone for as a representative of Yala, and the best person he saw to put as a representative of Yala was his own daughter, when there are very many people out there who are potentially more capable of holding that particular position. So I'm saying this, immediately after Raila spoke yesterday, Sifuna came up saying that, you know what, we guys have a leader, and just because you guys don't have a leader doesn't mean that we should not have a leader. We have someone who's actually directing us. And now they think, you know what, after the fact that they thought that there was no reason for dialogue, that, there was no reason to actually listen, that everything is straightforward, and what we want is actions. Today they think, you know what, actually it might be a bit kind of like prudent to have some dialogue. And this is the kind of psychophancy that has actually bewitched our political class. There's no one in the political class at the moment who is not a sycophant to someone. It's either you're a sycophant to the ruling regime, or you're a sycophant to your leader in the opposition. And today Gladys Wanga is basically watering down this particular movement by telling the people in Nyanza, basically referring to them as their sons or the people of the lake, to not actually go to the streets, because this is not their fight. You get my point? So I like to tell people, you know what? Don't be slaves to popular opinions. Don't actually be very much blinded by this particular psychophancy that has actually bewildered all of the Kenyan political system, and actually trickled down even to the masses. Now you find some people say, you know what, because Raila Odinga has spoken, now you think, no, it doesn't happen like that. It doesn't happen like that. What we need to understand is that this is a movement by the people, from the people, and for the people. And the people are the ones who decide what should be done and what should go forward. We are not listening to Raila Odinga. We're not listening to Sifuna or anyone. So what I think is right is that, you know what, The reason we say that at first that the movement is leaderless, tribeless, and all sorts of manners is because of the fact that if we had a singular person that we can actually point to as a leader of the movement, there are two things. This person can either be compromised if this person is so much steadfast and strong and doesn't have that particular leeway to be compromised, then the other thing which would come is intimidation tactics. This person will be intimidated and they might end up actually giving in just because of the intimidations. But I proposed something, and I proposed this in several, in actually like previous spaces, and I'm still going to say this even in subsequent spaces, that you know what we need is a council, because we can't say that, you know what, until when are we going to be leaderless? We can't say we're going to be going to the streets every time, because what? Look at what has happened in the last like 2-3 protests, the infiltration by the goons, destruction of property and lives and all that. And before I even go to that particular point of having a council and a particular like platform or maybe organ that can be able to actually like dictate or actually be kind of like an oversight for us, is that you should not forget. Let's not forget that there are 41 or more people who 1 month ago were alive. And most of these people are either Gen Ys or Gen Zs. So it's either they're millennials or they're Gen Zs, and they had a lot of life ahead of them. They were thinking about a lot of things that, you know what, they might achieve in life, but their lives were cut short. The fact that these people's lives were cut short should be the main motive that should drive us to actually not relent. And you know what? I'm going to tell the people, do not listen to these politicians who now tell you that, you know what, don't go to the streets, sit down, have a dialogue. Have a dialogue with who? Who are we having a dialogue with? You get my point? So I'm going to tell you the words of Bob Marley, that, you know what, emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but us can free our minds. And then if you're gonna allow me, I'm gonna read a short kind of like snippet of a poem. And even before I read this, it's very short. There's a snippet which someone put up on their status on their post. I think yesterday I came across it on X. And this person is saying, remember very well that when you go and you're hunting for jackals or wolves, and you have a dog of your own, and you're going with the dog to hunt those, remember that these are all cousins, and they might end up ganging up and actually like feed on you. So remember very well that all these people in the political class are cousins. This is the kind of game that they've been playing on us years on end. So do not actually be blinded by the fact that, you know what, they're cousins and their motive is the same. So the poem goes, it's actually something I just pulled up on the internet. It says, there's a revolution going on, and the wise men say it's darkest before the dawn. There's a revolution going on, and the wise men say it's darkest before the dawn. Have no fear, my brothers. Have no fear, my sisters. The battle is already won. Just look within yourselves and see the rising sun. The rising sun, yes, the rising sun. For I say there's a revolution going on. The wise men say it's always darkest before the dawn. So, viva, and you guys do not relent. Thank you very much, Kibi.
All right. Thank you, Kalija. Appreciate that. But let's go very quickly because I want us to give our guests some more time to speak. Logic Flow. What do you want? What do you want to say, Logic Flow?
Hi, Kibe. Thank you very much for the opportunity. I just want to say very few things. One, you raised a very important question. You asked tujipange before tupangwe. Number two, truth and reconciliation. Now, hii kujipanga kabla tupangwe, what exactly, you diagonized the problem that where are these leaders and why are we not moving? We have become a talking shop. Every space now is like a clinic, like a mental clinic. You go and just hear speeches and all that. But I just want to comment and say, that these spaces are the ones which brought this revolution. What we have failed to do is to convert them into actionable places. This is like a parliament, but like this space now, in my view, for us to move forward, like all these spaces, we are saying close the ranks, do all that and all that. Of course, we will not agree, all of us. That is not possible. But do we have anyone? I know the spaces are recorded. Do we have anyone recording any form of solution, views, and opinions which are expressed here, which can be distilled into a particular document, or anything that can be presented, said, okay, yeah, Kibe held a space yesterday, and this is the summary of what the speakers said or what the people said, something that can be presented. And that is the challenge that the political class that we are trying to reform is throwing at us. You guys are just talking. What are you telling us? How can we talk to you? But you see, if we organize in such a way that in this space, Kibe, when you organize it, you say like, hey, you, Casmuel, you'll be recording for me what solutions guys are saying. What can we do? Then at least a document is then generated the following day or thereafter, which can be posted and says, this is what the people in this space want. So that at least there is a leader. I know this space, Kibe, can become a leader in providing way forward. That is one of them. Number two, we lost the focus when we started looking for leaders who can lead us and lead us to I don't know where. Remember, this revolution was about finance. Okay? Was about finance, was about governance. Now, where did we start from? We started from reject the finance bill. That was successful. We then had about the reject finance was about avoiding overtaxation. I know one or two things about the law, so just allow me, Kibe, 2 minutes. We started with reject finance bill, which was aiming to tax us, to collect money. But we had the Appropriation Act, which was signed into law, and this is what is saying how to spend the money that is being collected. We saw the president saying, I'm going to remove this, I'm going to remove that, I'm going to remove all those kind of things. We have forgotten that we must be eternally vigilant to ensure that in that Appropriation Act, our money is being spent. That is where our money is being spent. So my suggestion is, let's not lose focus. This was a finance revolution. We need the government to be fiscally responsible. And after the finance bill, it is the Appropriation Act. We have to go to it and tell it, guys, this line, and this line. For example, we can't have the president having 5 lines of expenditure all about furniture. What is that? Those are the kind of things we need to look at. And now we said, who can lead us in this position? Because we don't have a leader, we don't have anything. Now, Kibe, you and your group of bigwig, so to speak, in this space, being organized, you can look for people who are professionals who can tell you, so who do we approach? Among all these organizations that we have, which organizations can provide leadership or can direct us in terms of what is going on? For example, we have the Institute of Economic Affairs of Kenya. These guys have always said the government has a problem of expenditure. It is not about collecting money in the finance bill. It is about expenses. So we look at these guys, ask them, what can we do with this expenditure in the government? These guys will direct us and tell us, this is where there's a problem, this is where there's a problem. We have the Law Society of Kenya. We have Katiba Institute. We saw these organizations coming up and supporting the Gen Zs during their revolution. Why? Because they have been given the wings by the people who are exercising Article 1 of the Constitution. So all these spaces can collect the views. Then we had a number 2 thing. We said, if I were you guys, I would say occupy parliament, because parliament is the weakest link that we have, and it is the representative of people. Because all the laws that are affecting Kenyans, all the expenditure that is affecting Kenyans, it was passed by parliament. We said we had recall of MPs. Now we had lawyers in the spaces. They told us, look, the recalling of MPs requires IEBC to be in place to verify signatures and all that and all that. Now we have an IEBC law. We need to have the lawyers on these spaces. So for me, on Mondays, we can have finance Mondays, we can have law Tuesdays, we can have parliament Thursdays, and all like those kind of hashtags which can lead us. So recalling of MPs, we need to understand now, we did a threat of recalling MPs. Now the MPs are out in the street laughing. Can we really recall them? We need to find out. And therefore, my thinking is that we need to be eternally vigilant. So we said we need to delete all the useless offices. Are we now sure that we can actually do that? So we have to put our eyes on the prize. Other things that are disturbing Kenyans is like CDF. We said we don't need CDF with MPs. MPs are supposed to be legislators, not administrators. So we need to keep our eyes on the prize. Finally, remember, guys, the system is wrong. When we guys are saying who wants to be a leader, through which system? We are just going to elect people into this system. And we know this system either attracts crooks or very brilliant guys, but who can tolerate crooked behaviors. That's why if you have professors of law, you have very big, very prominent people. But when they get into the system, they actually get, corrupted into the system. For example, we had the prominent Professor Kibwana, Makueni County. Last time when Uhuru was in government, I heard them saying they are putting, internet in all the villages in Kenya. The balloon thing with I don't know what kind of company, where did that go? And that's why this revolution remains in Nairobi. I know one of the speakers said we need to spread this to the ground. We need to get this going. But if we do not put our MPs, if we do not make parliament work, then I'm telling you, we will not succeed in our system. So I'll stop there. In case of any clarification or any, you need to have a follow-up question, then we can have that. But for me, keep away from the politicians. Don't look at them, eye on the prize. Finance discipline in Kenya is what is killing everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Logic Flow. Appreciate that. Musky, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Kibe. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. And let's try,
Right,
let's try and
so
keep it short. I see guys are getting carried away here, giving us long. Yeah.
yes.
Go ahead.
All right, so I just want to jump in from the note of particularly leadership. It's tough, it's very tough, honestly. And what I would want to request you, Kibe, is you just remain steadfast. I know a lot of people will come for your neck, yes. A few minutes ago, I saw Sam Otero try to bring up a space, but then people told him, no, wait. The millennials, people in medicine, people in engineering, all through, because everyone has an issue that is affecting them differently. And they are the best people who can address their issues or raise their issues to the concerned authorities. One of the things that made me see that the so-called 50 people they were looking for wouldn't work is because there are so many problems out here across the professions, across the ages, and therefore saying that only 50 people can raise those issues, I don't think it was. And actually, the time frame, even within the next 6 days, that is not feasible for me. Leadership is a tough call. It involves a lot emotionally, physically, and financially. So for those who are trying to ask Caswell to jump in, definitely I understand that he has to plan himself on all those aspects. And therefore, mine to Caswell is we are here to support you. And if possible, after this space, we can reach out reach out to Kibe so that we plan on something that is actually tangible, so that we don't meet here, raise our concerns every other day without coming up with solutions. And I also want to take it upon myself from the next to whoever, I think maybe the host in this case, so that we work from a point of knowledge and also tukuwe na some tangible progress. Si tunakutana hapa tunaongea like inakani kama we are gaslighting each other. So the approach that we used to schedule this was amazing, and the people who were invited, I believe today was a Wednesday, most of them unaweza pata they were maybe kwa shughuli zingine. So I would request Kibe, if possible, can we redo it again, maybe probably over the weekend, so that we can now see actually, are these people, are they afraid? What is the problem? That is my submission for today.
Thank you, Maski. Appreciate that. You know, after 2020, after the pandemic, we realized that all of us are online. We are all online all the time. Hakuna usidanganywe na mtu ati kuna mtu hayuko online saa hii, ati kuna kitu anafanya. No, we are all online all the time. We became addicts of the internet. We are online all the time. So mtu kama hataki kuja ni aseme tu hataki kuja. Hakuna ati usidanganyike. We are online all the time, every second of the day. Hey, siku hizi hata ukisikia WhatsApp yako inaenda collapse unataka kujiua. All right, with that being said, Muihaki, are you here? Then I'll come to you, Brian Osoro. Muihaki. So we have Casmuel and we have Giuliani here. So if you guys have any questions for them, these are some of the people that I see have presented themselves, you know, to be counted. So let's engage them if we can. Muihaki, what's on your mind?
Hey, you can hear me?
Perfect. Go ahead.
What I want to say, I also want to talk about the leadership thing. Right now, talking about leaders is very tricky because, as someone has said, the system is so bad, from the judiciary to the police to everyone. So the bigger point is, how do we clear the mess first so that we can create the systems that good leaders can come in and lead us? Because now telling people, oh, I want to vie for this, I think it's too early, because the bigger problem is, how fast do we clean up the mess, these corrupt people, the systems that are not working? Because for me, I'm very bad about the police. I can see, we can both see whatever has been going on. We have the criminals everywhere. The murderers are walking scot-free. We are trying to voice ourselves. Nobody is listening. So first of all is, how do we clean these systems so that when we can come up with our own leaders, it will be fair for everyone. There'll be opportunity for everyone. Everything will be running so well. That's all I can say. Thank you.
I would want Giuliani to answer that question. Giuliani.
Yeah.
Jibu your swali, man.
Mi opinion yangu kwanza ni the only thing that was missing throughout history yote tangu tuanze history ya Kenya na constitution ya 2021 is active citizen, and that's what's happening right now for the last 1 month. That's the only ingredient we're gonna miss kwa hii recipe. So the system is not the problem, because we have a really good constitution. We have bodies za government zile zimekuwa zikiwork na zikiactivatiwa kwa zina work. The only part that was missing ni wasona tumia Boni DM wakiwa na noma, but this time they don't just send him DM ama ukikana Boni in a day, and pia mimi sometimes in a week 3 times a day lazima uko kwa police station somewhere you're trying to get somebody released, ama sijuko random wapi una nini. So the truth is, the only ingredient that was missing before was an informed and active and organized citizenry. That's the only thing that was missing. So we should be. I feel like we're in an amazing, beautiful space as a country. That finally the puzzle, the pieces of the puzzle is complete. We went through the whole idea of multipartism, ikaingiana, tukatoa rezo. We went to the economic conversation na Kibaki. We went through the whole new constitution. The only part that was missing was the social part where citizens are activated. That's what I would like to say about that. Another thing I'd like to mention is I think we are getting ahead of ourselves, son, because we've been doing this for 4 weeks now. Let me just give it that timeline. And the truth is, let's be patient with ourselves. Let's do as many spaces like this as we can. Let's go in the street. Tutoe hiyo kitu kwanza kwa system first. Nika ukiget milioni tatu the first time, unataka tu kubuy gari mpya. Itoe kwa system kwanza, and then ndio sasa now tukue sober. So let's be patient with ourselves kidogo throughout this place. I know we are talking about power vacuum, nini, and we're forcing Kasimuel and SG happy. No, let's be patient with ourselves because we have to understand, we assume we know the landscape that we're dealing with, but we don't know. These are new, whatever, for us, all of us. We can say, oh, I've been in this space, I've been using music. Somebody else might say, I've been using whatever, but we have never been here before. So let's be patient with ourselves. And maybe the last example I'd like to give, if you allow me, my favorite series of all time in it was The Wire. Like my favorite. And if you've watched it, there's this person anaitwa Omar. Now Omar alikuwa like the most anaitwaje, like feared guy, bully, alikuwa bully na kwa feared na gangsters na kila mtu. So just a mention of his name wasa walikuwa wanatoroka tu. And then something happened that he got shot and stuff like that. And then there was a kid, a small kid yani tu. Siku moja akamuona akaona Omar amelimpa kipita. Sasa wakisikia Omar anakaa alafu akahepa. But what the kid was like, "Huyu ni Omar?" Yani ndio wasimsee wasona tukashtuka hapo akimuona. Jamaa katoi tu kadogo na threatening, ako tu ni katoto, alienda akafuata tu Omar poa kilimp, akamshoot kwa alikuwa na bike kitu. Randomly tu akamshoot. So we think sometimes we have to plan and prep for change. Sometimes there's the smallest thing that sparks change. The only thing we need to do, Sai, is be aware of what's happening and take it in. And not be in a hurry to try to do stuff that